Flames and Frost. Episode 1. Hunted.
The exile had begun 3 days ago. 3 days of running. 3 days of hiding. 3 days since the Grand Council's decree turned half the Dragon Realm into fugitives. This is not the story of how it started. This is the story of how it felt to be hunted. Night hung heavy over the borderlands, broken ridges and wind-cut stone stretching toward a horizon that promised nothing. In the distance, silhouettes moved against the stars. Fire dragons, ice dragons, families pressed together, injured limping alongside the strong, hatchlings kept tight against their mothers' sides. They weren't fleeing, they were being herded. A call echoed across the ridges, one long note answered by two short, then another, and another. The sound rippled from peak to peak, like a net being drawn tight. Patrols banked overhead in repeating arcs, their flight patterns precise, deliberate. They weren't chasing, they were steering, pushing the exiles away from safe passes, funneling them toward routes that led nowhere good. And somewhere in that chaos, moving low through terrain shadow instead of open sky, 3 dragons fought to stay invisible. Asha pressed her wing over her son's trembling body, her scales, deep crimson the color of dying embers, barely visible against the dark stone. Beside her, Frost moved with the silence of falling snow, his pale blue hide almost ghostly in the moonlight. Between them, their child, Cinder. Named for the space where fire meets ash, the quiet moment after burning before the cold sets in. A name that belonged to neither clan, a name they had chosen together. A name the realm had declared should not exist.
There's another sweep coming along the northwest ridge. We need to move.
Wait. Listen to the calls. 1 long, 2 short. They're tightening the ring, not closing it. We have a window.
Frost's claw tapped against the ground, 3 quick beats, then still. It was a habit he'd had since childhood, one he thought he'd hidden. Asha had noticed it the first week they'd met. It meant he was afraid and trying not to show it. She didn't mention it. She never did. Asha's eyes never left Cinder. He was young, barely past his first molt, and terror radiated from him in waves she could feel through her scales.
Breathe, little one. Match my breath. In and out. In and out.
Cinder tried. His small chest rose and fell against her side, but his fear was a living thing, coiling tighter with every distant wing beat. And then it happened. A patrol call rang out closer than expected, sharp, sudden. Cinder flinched, his breath caught, and for just a heartbeat, a shimmer of steam rose from his nostrils, catching the moonlight like a ghost made visible. Frost's head snapped toward his son, eyes wide.
Down, now.
They pressed flat against the stone, wings folded tight, barely breathing. Above them, a patrol swept past, close enough that Asha could hear the rush of air through their wings. One of the patrol dragons slowed. Asha's heart stopped. She could see him hovering, head tilted, nostrils flaring. A long moment passed, then another. The patrol dragon's wings shifted. He glanced down, directly at the shadow where they hid, and for one terrible instant, Asha was certain he saw them. But he turned away, rejoined his formation, flew on. Asha didn't know if he'd missed them or chosen not to look. She wasn't sure which possibility frightened her more. The shimmer faded, the patrol moved on, but the damage was done. Somewhere in the dark, a scout had seen something, a flicker, a wrongness in the air. The call pattern shifted, 2 long notes, 1 short, repositioning.
They're adjusting. They saw something.
They saw nothing. Just steam. Just cold air meeting warm.
Asha, we both know what they saw.
She didn't answer. She couldn't. Because he was right. Cinder's fear had betrayed them. A tiny hybrid tell. A breath that was neither fire nor frost, but something in between. Something that should not exist. Cinder pressed closer to his mother, his voice barely a whisper.
I'm sorry. I tried to hold it. I tried.
You have nothing to apologize for. Nothing. Do you hear me?
She pulled him tighter, her wings wrapping around him like armor. But her eyes met Frost's over their son's head, and in that look was everything they couldn't say aloud. This was only the beginning. Asha closed her eyes, and for just a moment, she let herself remember. Their den in the southern reaches, the groove worn into the stone floor where Cinder had taken his first stumbling steps. The way morning light caught the ice crystals Frost had woven into the walls. His gift to her, fire and frost existing in the same space. Gone now. All of it. Left behind in the space of a single night. She opened her eyes. The memory wouldn't save them. Only movement would. 3 days earlier, in a cave carved from obsidian and starlight, the world had changed. Zafranth, the seer of prophecies, lay dying. 3 centuries of visions had worn his body to nothing, but his eyes, those terrible, knowing eyes, burned with something that made even the elders step back. Not peace, not acceptance. Terror.
You must hear this, all of you, before I go. When flame and frost are forged as one, the realm will shake, its seams undone. The mountains split, the caverns wake, and all you built will burn and break. Yet from the ash new life shall grow, a world remade by fire and snow.
What does it mean, forged as one? How do we stop it?
You will want a clean answer, a rule, a line in stone. But the future you fear does not arrive by one great act. It arrives by many smaller ones. Fear will do the work for the dark. Remember that. Fear will.
The elders stood in silence, and in that silence, fear took root. The Grand Council convened within hours. No ceremony, no tradition. Just 9 elders in a chamber that suddenly felt too small, arguing over words none of them fully understood. The debate lasted 3 days. Some elders dismissed the prophecy outright, the ramblings of a dying dragon, nothing more. Others parsed every syllable, searching for loopholes, for hope, for anything that didn't lead where they feared it led. But the phrase that haunted them, the one no interpretation could soften, was simple. Forged as one. Fire and ice. Merged. A crossbreed. On the second day, Seraphine shared what the scouts had whispered for months. Sightings at the borders. A dragon with scales like cooled ash, dark and mottled. But when the light caught it, flashes of ember copper and ice silver rippled beneath. Both elements, one body. The chamber went cold. Umbrak demanded immediate action. Aethan counselled patience. Velora warned that fear was doing exactly what Zephranth had predicted, turning them into the architects of their own destruction.
And if we do nothing? If the prophecy is true and we stood by while the realm burned, what then?
And if our action is what lights the fire?
No one had an answer. There was no answer. Only fear dressed up as reason, and the desperate need to do something, anything, that felt like control. On the third day, they voted. It wasn't unanimous. Velora abstained. 2 others voted against. But the majority carried, and in the Grand Council, majority was law. Thornak spoke the decree. His voice didn't waver, but his eyes were hollow.
All dragons of fire and ice lineage are hereby exiled from the realm, effective immediately. Any hybrid offspring resulting from such unions
He paused. The silence stretched.
will not be permitted to exist.
Prevention. That's what they called it. Prevention. The enforcement began before dawn. Back in the present, the net continued to tighten. Frost counted the patrol intervals in his head, the rhythm of calls, the sweep patterns, the gaps between passes. His mind worked like a map, plotting routes that existed only in shadow and timing.
There's an opening, southeast. But we need to move in the next 30 seconds or the sweep line closes it.
That route is too exposed. If they spot us...
If we stay here, they'll find us anyway. They're not chasing Asha, they're positioning, sealing exits and waiting for us to make a mistake.
Cinder tugged at his mother's wing. His voice was small but steady.
Mother. The patrol on the left, the one with the torn wing. He's slower than the others. There's a gap when he banks.
Asher and Frost both turned to look at their son. He wasn't trembling anymore. His eyes were fixed on the sky, tracking movement with an intensity that seemed too old for his young face.
I can feel where they are. The heat from their wings, the cold spots where they're not. It's like a map made of temperature.
Frost stared at his son. Something flickered in his eyes. Wonder, maybe. Or fear of a different kind.
You can sense them? Through the air?
I don't know how. I just can. The one with the torn wing is about to turn. There.
Asher looked up. The patrol dragon with the damaged wing banked wide, exactly as Cinder had said, leaving a gap in the formation that lasted perhaps 3 heartbeats. 3 heartbeats was enough.
Then we move now. Together.
They moved. Frost went first, laying a thin strip of powder-soft rime over the loose stones ahead. Not ice, just enough to muffle the ring of claws on rock. Asher followed with Cinder pressed close, using her body heat to soften sharp gravel edges, reducing scrape without leaving obvious warmth. Every step was a calculation, every breath a risk. The southeast route opened before them, a narrow gully cutting between 2 ridges. Beyond it, darkness, safety, maybe. But something felt wrong. It's too quiet.
Because it's not an escape route. It's a funnel.
He was right. The gully was too clean, too obvious. The kind of path that looked like freedom but led somewhere worse. A call echoed behind them, 2 long notes, 1 short. The sweep line was repositioning, closing the gap they'd just slipped through.
There, the cavern mouth, half hidden by that rock fall.
Caves are traps. They'll seal the entrance and wait us out.
Well, at least we'll die somewhere cozy.
Frost blinked at her. Despite everything, the terror, the exhaustion, the impossible odds, a ghost of a smile crossed his face.
You're making jokes. Now?
I make jokes when I'm terrified. You tap your claw when you're scared. We all have our tells.
Frost's claw stopped mid-tap. He looked down at it, then back at her.
You noticed that?
I notice everything about you.
For just a moment, the world shrank to the two of them. Then Cinder tugged at both their wings, his voice urgent.
They're getting closer. I can feel them.
The moment broke. They dove into the darkness. The cavern swallowed them whole. Inside, the world changed. The wind died. The distant calls became muffled echoes. The air tasted of minerals and old water dripping somewhere in the black. Cinder's trembling grew worse. The darkness pressed in from all sides, and Asher could feel his panic building like pressure behind a dam.
Look at me. Look at my eyes. There's nothing here but us. Nothing but family. Breathe with me.
He tried. His small claws dug into the stone floor as he fought to control himself.
I can feel them out there. All of them. It's like being surrounded by hot spots that want to hurt us.
I know, but feeling isn't finding. They don't know where we are. Not yet.
Outside, the patrols circled. Asher could hear them laying scent lines at the entrance, a sharp mineral ozone tang that marked the boundary like a warning. Then came a new call. A single low note, sustained and certain. Frost's jaw tightened.
Silence call. They're not going to chase us out. They're going to wait.
Then we wait longer.
Asha, they have numbers. They have time. We have a terrified child who...
He stopped, because Cinder was looking at him with eyes that held something other than fear.
I can do it. I can be still. I can.
Frost knelt down, bringing his face level with his son's.
I know you can. I've always known.
Asher watched them, her mate and her child, ice and fire and something in between, and felt her heart crack and heal in the same breath.
Listen to me, Cinder. What you feel inside, that heat, that cold, that thing that wants to escape, it's not your enemy. It's part of you, and you can control it. Not by fighting it, by accepting it, by letting it be still.
But what if it comes out anyway?
Then it comes out, and we deal with it, together. But I believe in you. Your father believes in you. You are stronger than your fear.
Cinder closed his eyes. His breathing slowed. And when he opened them again, something had changed. The trembling hadn't stopped, but it had steadied, controlled.
I can feel a tunnel behind us, deep in the rock. It's colder there. No one's been through it. No heat signatures.
Frost and Asher exchanged a look.
How far?
Far enough. I think I can guide us.
Outside, the patrol calls continued their patient rhythm. Inside, a family held each other in the dark, and for the first time since the exile began, something like hope flickered to life. Time passed, minutes or hours, impossible to tell in the black. Then Frost's head lifted. His eyes adapted to the darkness, and his ears caught something Asher didn't.
The calls are changing. Listen.
She listened. The rhythm had shifted, tighter, more confident. The ring was closing.
They found our trail. They know we're in here.
As if to confirm his words, a new call rang out from somewhere near the entrance. 3 sharp notes, piercing and unmistakable. Confirmed trail. Cinder's breath hitched. A tiny shimmer of steam rose from his nostrils, visible even in the darkness, a faint glow of heat meeting cold. But this time, he caught it, pulled it back, forced it down with a visible effort that made his whole body shake.
I'm okay. I'm okay. The tunnel, it's this way. Follow me.
He moved into the darkness and his parents followed. Not because they knew where he was going, but because they trusted him, because he was their son. Because some things matter more than fear. Behind them, the patrols were moving. Asher could hear wings cutting through air, claws scraping stone. The net was tightening, and they were caught in the center of it. But ahead, in the darkness, a young dragon who should not exist was leading his family towards something that might be salvation. Or might be another trap. There was only one way to find out.
We're not dying in a hole.
No, we're not.
Asher reached out in the darkness and found Frost's claw. He squeezed back. 3 quick beats, then still. His tell, his fear, shared with her because she was the only one who knew. She squeezed back. 4 beats. Their old signal from before Cinder, from before the exile, from the very first night they'd chosen each other over everything else. 4 beats. It meant, I'm here. It meant, I'm not leaving. It meant, whatever comes, we face it together. The cave pressed in around them. The patrol calls echoed closer. And somewhere ahead, their son moved through darkness with a gift born from his own impossibility, sensing the world in ways no pure-blooded dragon ever could. The hunt was far from over, but the hunted had found something the hunters would never understand: each other. How will Asher, Frost, and Cinder escape the tightening net? Will the patrols discover the truth about the hybrid child? And what waits for them in the darkness ahead? Find out in the next episode of Flames and Frost.